Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of what companies are trying to hide in plain sight, especially when it comes to their less than stellar financial forecasts. So today we are looking at Bit Digital Incorporated, and they have dropped a Form 8K, which is basically a report for big events or important information that just could not wait for their regular quarterly filing. Bit Digital Incorporated is a company that has been involved in digital asset mining. Now, they are giving us a peek at some early financial results for the 2 months that ended on the 31st of August of 2025. They are telling us that for the 2 months ending the 31st of August 2025, their revenue is expected to be somewhere between 20.1 million and 22.2 million dollars. That sounds like a decent amount of money, right? But let's keep digging. Their cost of revenue, which is basically how much it costs them to generate that revenue excluding things like depreciation, is looking to be between 8.2 million and 9.0 million dollars. And what really stands out here is their cash. As of the 31st of August 2025, they are expecting to have between 163.7 million and 173.9 million dollars in cash. That is a pretty healthy amount of cash on hand, which is always good to see for any company. Now, they are very clear that these numbers are preliminary. They are still putting the finishing touches on their official financial statements for the quarter ending the 30th of September 2025. So these are just estimates for the previous 2 months. This is important because the actual results could be a bit different once they are finalized. Think of it like getting a draft before the final paper. It gives you a good idea, but the final version might have a few tweaks. Also, it is worth noting that their independent auditors, Audit Alliance LLP, have not yet reviewed these preliminary numbers. So they are not giving any sort of stamp of approval on these early figures. This is standard practice for preliminary earnings announcements like this, but it is good to keep in mind. Moving on to another bit of news, there is an update regarding their subsidiary White Fiber Incorporated. This is their high-performance computing arm. They've provided some updates on their data center expansion projects. It looks like one project in St. Jerome, Quebec, referred to as MTL-3, is still expected to be completed in the fourth quarter of 2025. However, another significant project, North Carolina -1 in Madison. North Carolina, which is an industrial building part of their expansion, is now slated for completion in the first quarter of 2026. Initially, this was expected to be ready sooner. They also mentioned that even though NC-1 is expected to be completed in the first quarter of 2026, they do not expect it to start bringing in revenue until May of 2026. This delay means revenue generation from this specific project will be pushed back a few months later than perhaps originally anticipated. On top of these project timings, Bit Digital is also filing updated risk factor disclosures related to White Fiber. This means they are pointing out potential problems or challenges that could affect their business, and they are adding this information to what they've already said in previous reports. It is a way of keeping investors informed about what could go wrong. Now, as with most of these reports, there is always a section on forward-looking statements. This is a standard disclaimer that tells you that any predictions or expectations about the future are just that, predictions. They involve risks and uncertainties. The company is just saying that things might not turn out exactly as they expect, and investors should be aware of the risks involved, especially those detailed in their annual reports. They are essentially saying don't bet your house on these future plans. Finally, the report lists the exhibits included. The most notable one here is Exhibit 99.1, which contains those supplemental risk factors we just talked about. So let us pull it all together. Bit Digital is giving us a sneak peek at some solid revenue, and more importantly, a very strong cash position for the first 2 months of their fiscal third quarter. That is definitely a positive highlight, showing they have financial stability. However, the delays in their White Fiber subsidiary S data center projects, particularly NC-1, are a bit of a red flag, pushing back the completion, and revenue generation means that the expected benefits from this expansion are further down the road. This could impact their growth trajectory for the rest of the year. The updated risk disclosures are also something to pay attention to. While companies always have risks, the fact that they are adding more specific ones suggests that the environment they are operating in might be becoming more complex or challenging. Overall, Bit Digital appears to be in a financially sound position from a cash standpoint, which is a major strength. But the operational delays in their expansion projects introduce some uncertainty about their near-term growth from those initiatives. Investors should keep a close eye on how these projects progress and what the actual audited financial results will look like. The company S success will likely hinge on its ability to execute these capital intensive projects on time and to start generating revenue from them as planned. Alright, that is our breakdown of Bit Digital, S latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company? S future. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.